CLNS Media Patriots Roundtable. I'm your host, Nick Qualley, sitting here with my co-host, Marv and Mike Molyneux. And we're officially in the trenches of the offseason. This is the time of year where we have to scrape, we have to claw for topics every week. Well, once we get through the positions, what we want them to do over the offseason, what we want them to do at draft time, blah, blah, blah. So there's been a quarterback's name popping up left and right, and it's not Deshaun Watson here in New England. And there might be some troubling times. I don't know how you guys personally feel about Jimmy Garoppolo, but according to some reports, Jimmy Garoppolo might now be staying in San Francisco as they feel that they could win with Jimmy Garoppolo, which fine. Okay, I get it. I've always thought this Jimmy Garoppolo hate. I know he's been hurt a lot, but by the way people were talking about Jimmy Garoppolo, at least from the San Francisco side of things, it sounded like he was just absolutely terrible. I didn't think he was terrible. I thought he was okay. He was good. But anyway, Cam Newton, his name is coming back up. There are still some big-time Cam Newton loyalists, especially if you go on Twitter. There are some big-time Cam Newton loyalists. And just got a very sad notification the Celtics played tonight. That sucks. Don't want to watch that. But Cam, his name's coming back up, guys. And the question here is just simply, would you be okay with Cam Newton coming back? Because as this offseason's gone on, even the last couple weeks of the regular season, Deshaun Watson, I doubt he comes here. You could get Carson Wentz, I guess. Jimmy Garoppolo sounds like he's staying in San Francisco. Matt Stafford is now in LA. So with the quarterback list shrinking, would you guys be okay with Cam Newton coming back next season? And do you think he is going to come back to the Patriots next season? Marv, let's start with you. What do you think?
Nick, if you had asked me this question a month ago, I'd tell you no. I'd probably say, hell no. I don't want Cam Newton around this team no more. I mean, I was a big advocate for it, as you guys know, prior to the season happening. And then, we saw what Cam was. And for the most part, it was a guy who couldn't complete any short passes. He would throw it to the dirt. A guy who couldn't read defenses very well. Took a lot of unnecessary sacks, and he just wasn't good. He wasn't a great quarterback for this team. And then the Super Bowl happened, and I just saw how great Tom Brady was, and he had a team. He had an offensive line. He had a running back. He had some receivers. Then I thought about Tom Brady the year before. Same Tom Brady. He got older, but looks 10 times better than the Tom Brady we saw in the Patriots uniform in his last year compared to the Tampa Bay Tom Brady. So it got me thinking, saying, how bad is Cam Newton really? Because if you start looking at this Patriots roster compared to the Tampa Bay's roster, there's a big difference. And, Cam would say all the right things about trusting his receivers and trusting his running backs and such. But did he really trust them? I mean, could he really trust them? They weren't good. We all saw N'Keal Harry. We like Jacoby Myers, but we know he's not a 1. He's not even a 2, really. He's a nice, reliable 3, and he was your best wide receiver. Damiere Byrd is a journeyman. He's not even a legit deep threat. So that affects, as we know, quarterback play. And we saw the greatest example in Tom Brady. It affects quarterback play when you don't have weapons and you go in week to week not knowing who you can rely on. So I think that played a bigger role than I gave credit to this season. Did Cam look great this
agree.
season? No, Cam did not. Cam did not look good at all. Everyone always mentioned the weapons were bad, but I think the Super Bowl and the playoffs in general really opened my eyes on how bad this roster is and the fact that it really did hamper Cam Newton. So to answer your question, am I happy if Cam Newton comes back to the New England Patriots? I'm not ecstatic. I'm not jumping for joy like I was last year. But I do think, it's right for me to come here on the show and say I could have been wrong about Cam and that it's fair to give him another shot. And plus, he's not going to cost you anything. But you need to give him better weapons. You need to give any quarterback better weapons. But Cam deserves a lot more than what he's been given to. Yes, we've seen him do more with less, but that's when he was younger. That's when he was a lot healthier. If he's about to be 31, 32 maybe years old, Cam Newton. Give him some better weapons. I think he can produce a lot better on this team. And the Patriots, if they had maybe a wide receiver one, didn't have COVID issues, could have been a fringe playoff team.
Yeah, I don't love the fact that we're talking about the Patriots being a fringe playoff team while there's guys like J.J. Watt who are talking about the Browns being a potential destination for him, a preferred destination for him. Look, right now, so Mike Giardi went on Dan O'Keefe of VEI, and he said that there is a 35 to 40% chance that he thinks Cam Newton returns to the Patriots next season. And in Marv, you're right. That's a very key point that I think a lot of people are missing is Tom Brady just won the Super Bowl. Tom Brady was here last season, and if you asked most of us, a lot of Patriots fans, he was done. He did not look good, and the team overall was not good. You basically gave Cam Newton that exact same roster, if not maybe a little worse, and he gave you a little slightly worse results because, I mean, Tom Brady's obviously better than Cam Newton, but he gave you slightly worse results, but working with the roster that was built around him, I mean, how much could you really expect out of him, I guess? And especially when we were dealing with high expectations, since we watched Tom Brady for 20 years just win Super Bowl after Super Bowl, the expectations were high. And he clearly did not come close to any of those. So, Mike, what do you think?
So, individually, I think, you guys spoke on it both a little bit. Cam Newton clearly is not the same MVP Cam Newton that we saw a couple years ago. And we know that. We know that. We saw that throughout the course of this year. Not even close. And then at the same time, pretty much hand in hand, yes, the Patriots offense overall sucked. So as the year went on, I continued to always tell anybody who I had a conversation with, I'll never fully put the blame of the Patriots' offensive woes on Cam Newton. It's not completely his fault because the weapons that he has around him are not good. And like Marv said, watching Tom Brady win the Super Bowl, and you just think to the fact that Tom Brady's had some years in New England where he's had sucky teams, sucky offensive weapons, and he's made things happen with them just because he's the GOAT. He's capable of doing that. He's brought some sorry-ass teams pretty damn far over the years in New England. I don't know how much Tom Brady could have did if he was the quarterback of this Patriots team last year. And if we're taking Tom Brady completely out of the picture, I don't know if any quarterback could have stepped up in New England and carried this team on their back because the offense was just that bad. Now, with that being said, with Cam Newton, I think I've said this before on the show that we did before, and I'll say it again. Because I don't fully blame Cam Newton for, the season that was that happened in 2020. But at the same time, while I do say Cam Newton has a lot of work to do if he wants to be a legit starting quarterback for try to get some starting quarterback years squeezed out of the rest of his career, I wouldn't mind seeing Cam Newton back. But something needs to happen in New England that has not happened before in a long time, and that's a full-fledged quarterback battle. There needs to be a full-fledged battle to see who can earn the right to be the starting quarterback for the New England Patriots. Now, assuming that no COVID or anything crazy is going to get in the way and there's going to be opportunities for OTAs and full training camps and off-season workouts without any restriction or anything like that, assuming all that will take place, I wouldn't mind seeing Cam Newton getting a chance. I'm assuming Jared Stidham's going to still be on the roster. If you want to go out and draft a quarterback, I definitely recommend that the Patriots do that. And then if there's somebody out there that you may be able to get in free agency or you may be able to make a trade for, if that's the case, I think 3 would be a solid number to have a quarterback battle with. 4 is kind of a lot, but like at this point, the Patriots need to find somebody who can be a good quarterback because who knows what kind of weapons, Bill Belichick will be able to get on this team next year. Even if you are able to get weapons or not, you have to have a good quarterback, behind center. That's what's most important. So I would not be against Cam Newton getting a chance, not just being handed the starting role like he kind of was last year, but I wouldn't mind seeing him get a chance in a battle with other quarterbacks to have an opportunity to be the quarterback for the Patriots in 2021.
Look, if he comes back, they have to bring somebody else in to have that competition with.
Absolutely.
They have to, because like you said, like it seems like they just gave up on Jarrett Stidham. I don't know what the hell happened.
Nobody knows.
But Jarrett Stidham must have gone 0 for 100 one day because they didn't want anything to do with that guy. They started Brian Hoyer, who disappeared off the face of the earth after the Kansas City game. They got to bring somebody else in. They have to. If Cam Newton's coming back. Look, Cam Newton to me is like your last option for the offseason. If you can't get, well, maybe not last option. Like I don't want Ryan Fitzpatrick. I don't. Because at that point, Ryan Fitzpatrick is your quarterback. You just know that your team's not destined for anything. No. I don't want Ryan Fitzpatrick. The only other names that I guess are still out there that I might consider is, just because there's still potential, is Carson Wentz. Maybe, but that's not exciting at all. That's not good. Carson Wentz. And then obviously if you can get Deshaun Watson, do that. Get Deshaun Watson in here, obviously. But other than that, if you got to bring Cam Newton back, you got to bring Cam Newton back. But my only thing here is this. If they do bring Cam back, if they do, I need Bill Belichick to look me in the eye, and I need him to tell me and promise me that he's going to draft a quarterback in the first round and create a competition.
He has to.
He has to do it. He has to.
It's a must.
Because look, it's almost, I mean, not the exact same situation. Tyrod Taylor was never Cam Newton, but it's a similar situation to what happened in Los Angeles for the Chargers last season, right? You draft Josh Herbert, you don't start him, you start Tyrod Taylor. Josh Herbert then takes over that role and keeps that role for the rest of the season. So for a long-term plan, I want them to take a quarterback in the first round. I don't think they're going to do that. I really don't believe they're going to do that, but that's what I would prefer that they do. I don't want Cam Newton to be the quarterback again next season. I just don't think he was making the right decisions. I don't think his accuracy was there. He was really fun to watch at the start of the season, but afterwards it wasn't great. It wasn't that good. But if he does come back, you're right. You have to create some sort of a legit quarterback competition and not just hand him the role like you did last year. Because again, Jarrett Stidham, he's going to be a coach at some point in the next couple of years, it seems like. They've got no faith in that guy. None.
Zero.